Sometimes the greatest betrayals come not from strangers, but from those we trusted the most. Life doesn't always teach us with warnings. Sometimes it breaks us first, only to rebuild us stronger. Kate stared at a single point. No, this couldn't be real. She used to laugh when watching movies where husbands buried their wives in enormous debts and left them with nothing. "Oh, come on," she'd scoff. "Who writes this nonsense? You'd have to be a total idiot to let something like that happen." Now she realized she had been far more naive than any of those fictional women. At least they suspected something, tried to fight back. Kate, she had signed everything over to her husband herself, even took out a massive loan in her own name. They were supposed to buy a house, a big one, the kind where they'd live happily ever after, where their kids would be born and grow up. They even found the perfect one. Kate already had a decent apartment from her late mother and stepfather, but now, on top of it, there was a loan the size of another apartment. Why didn't Alex take the loan himself? Probably because half his salary was under the table. They chose the house while Alex was on vacation. Kate was swamped with work, so he handled everything. Just 2 days ago, she found out they were getting divorced, and there was nothing she could do. In that time, Alex had already transferred her apartment to his lover and funneled the money elsewhere. Kate cried, then laughed. She couldn't believe this was happening to her. "Why, Alex? Why did you do this to me?" "Kate, it's nothing personal," he said with a shrug. "It was never going to work out between us anyway. You're just so dry, boring. And those kids, who needs them? I want to live for myself, not work like a mule." "So you decided to live at my expense? Why not?" He smirked. "Say what you want. Call me a jerk or whatever. I don't care. Call me anything. But now I'm winning. I'm going to party, chill, buy a decent car, really live it up. You won't notice the difference. You love working. So go ahead, work. Pay off the debt you took on." "And if I don't?" Kate asked quietly. Alex shrugged again. "That's also an option. Then you go to prison. With those debts, you've got nowhere else to go." He burst out laughing, and his girlfriend, bony and ghostly pale, echoed his squeaky cackle. Kate looked straight into her husband's eyes, her ex-husband now. "You know what I want to tell you." Alex stopped smiling. "What?" "We'll meet again. I don't know when. Maybe soon, maybe not. But I will find you, even if you're at the edge of the world. I'll find you, and you'll regret everything you did today." Alex stared at her, almost hypnotized, then suddenly shouted, "Did you hear that? She's threatening me. You all heard it." Kate held his gaze for a few more seconds, then calmly turned and walked out. The judge had given her 24 hours to vacate the apartment. Fine, she would. There was nothing in that place that belonged to Alex. About 100 kilometers from the city, she had a small house. It was from her grandfather, her father's father, the father who left her and her mother. Kate never wanted anything to do with them, and they never insisted. They understood. What happened to her father, Kate never fully knew. He apparently died somewhere in the north. Her grandfather passed away not long ago, just a few years back. She had only been to that house once. It was large, sturdy, rural, and that was all. Now she was planning not only to go there, but to move everything out of the apartment. She picked up her phone. "Hello? I need a moving truck with loaders, all day. It's a long trip." She smiled. Time to stop being a fool. Something inside her had broken. The sky didn't look blue. The grass wasn't green. Everything was dull and gray, but she'd make it through. The next call was to her office. Her boss tried to tell her he couldn't let her go right now. Kate calmly asked, "When can I get my money?" He was caught off guard. "What money?" "I haven't taken a vacation in 4 years. This is my 5th. I want compensation for all my unused days, and emotional damages too. Though I'll claim those through court. That'll get me more." "Miss Mary, please, there's no need to be so extreme. Of course, take your vacation. We'll send your payout today." "Thank you, Mr. Michael. I'm sure you'll miss me terribly." She smiled again. Maybe if she stopped being the pushover she used to be, she could actually live. Alex, with his angelic looks, showed up in the evening. The movers were just dragging the kitchen to the dumpster. It was built in, and there was no way to dismantle it without wrecking it. Kate looked at the mess that was once a kitchen and said, "Throw the kitchen in the trash. The appliances go in the truck." One of the loaders sighed. "Are you sure, ma'am? It's practically brand new. Could be fixed." "I'm sure. We're not fixing anything." Alex caught her in the middle of peeling wallpaper. She was laughing and trembling at the same time. She didn't know she was capable of this. "What the hell are you doing?" he asked. Kate stood confidently in the middle of the apartment. Alex and his girlfriend were speechless, both literally and emotionally. The girl stood there with a bottle of champagne in one hand and a cake in the other, wide-eyed. "What the hell did you do? Where is everything?" Alex burst out. Kate wrinkled her nose. "Ugh, such language, so rude." "I don't understand. The stool you brought into my apartment, I left it here, found it on top of the wardrobe," she added calmly. Kate walked up to the startled girl, pulled over the old stool and said, "Sit." The girl hesitated, flinched, and obediently sat down. "No, get up," Kate suddenly barked. The girl jumped to her feet. "This will be your table. Put the champagne on it." The girl clumsily slammed the bottle down on the stool. "Well, that's all. Don't miss me too much. We will see each other again." Kate slung her bag over her shoulder and walked out without a glance back. The girl turned to Alex, bewildered. How are we supposed to live like this?" Alex kicked the stool in frustration. "We'll buy everything. We'll fix it all." "And if we buy everything and fix it, there won't be money left for the beach trip," she said. "Oh, shut up. You can't even add 2 and 2, and now you're trying to do financial planning." Her eyes narrowed in anger. Without a word, she slapped him hard across the face and threw the cake onto the floor. "Who do you think you are, yelling at me like that?" She stormed out. Alex stood alone in the wrecked apartment, utterly lost. This wasn't how he pictured it at all. He had imagined Kate sobbing, begging at his feet. Instead, she didn't even seem upset. He had never handled anything around the house. Kate always did it all, even the repairs. Now he looked around at the bare walls with a twinge of fear. He needed Lika back. Maybe she knew how to deal with all this. And besides, without her, what was the point? He only started all this for her. He had to catch her. Now Alex ran out of the apartment. Kate drove ahead in a large car, her thoughts racing. What now? Oh, she remembered just in time. The car was registered in her name. She had always been careful like that, planning every detail to avoid surprises. But this? This she hadn't planned. She never expected it. Still, she had a whole month ahead to reset and figure everything out. The village appeared suddenly on the road. Kate slowed down. Wow, it's beautiful here. And that lake? She remembered her mom once telling her about this place. The lake had its legends. Her eyes quickly found the house. Strange, she hadn't noticed it before. It was the biggest, heaviest-looking house in the village, her grandfather's. Clearly, he hadn't been just any man. Kate pulled up and got out. "Where should we unload?" she asked the movers. "Wait, I'm not sure yet." They found an almost empty barn. "Perfect. No holes. We'll put the big stuff here. The rest is your problem," she said with a wave of her hand. The movers left an hour later, tired but cheerful. They said they'd never had so much fun during a move. Usually it's women crying, saying they don't want anything from their cheating husbands. But you really left that guy. Kate entered the house. She felt oddly at peace, not like she was in someone else's space, more like home. She turned on the light, walked around, examined the photos on the wall. Her granddad had lived well for a village man. Big TV, microwave, everything just like she had brought. And in the photos, she saw it. They looked alike. That's when it hit her. A pang of guilt. He hadn't done anything wrong. Her grandfather had probably suffered too because of what his son, her father, had done. She took down a picture of him. Something was stuck behind it. An envelope. "Hello, my dear granddaughter," it said. "I knew you'd find this letter because in this photo, we look the most alike." Kate sat on the couch and opened the thick envelope. Her eyes stung. "Your father was a real bastard. I forced them to marry. Your mother was a strong woman. But even that didn't help David. He was always a loser. But later, after you refused to speak with him, something changed. He started working like crazy. He even bought his own gold claim. All for you. He wanted you to remember him kindly one day. Inside you'll find everything, the bank vault number, and a list of everything David earned for you. Live well, my girl." When Kate saw the numbers, her hands went cold. Did people even have that kind of money? Meanwhile, Alex barely scraped together enough to convince Lika to come back. But only if they went on that beach trip. They returned weeks later, and by then, there wasn't even money left to pay the workers. Alex was furious. How come Kate managed money so wisely? If she had that amount, it wouldn't have run out in 5 years. She might have even made a profit. He looked at his wife, Lika, and realized she only knew 2 words: more and not enough. The builders turned out to be serious professionals, and Alex had to quickly mortgage the apartment to pay them. But how would he pay now? He had quit his job as soon as they came up with that clever little scheme involving Kate. Lika had disappeared again. Alex went out for a walk. Maybe he'd run into her, or maybe he'd just head to a bar and get drunk. Just behind their building, a new construction site had recently started. They said a very wealthy woman was building a psychological help center. For whom? Alex didn't care. What fascinated him was, where do such women even come from? The center looked modern and sleek, clearly expensive. Just then, a luxury car pulled up to the site. Now that's a car, Alex thought, one he could only dream of driving. The car stopped. Must be the owner, he thought. Probably some old woman with too much makeup and a young lover by her side. But then, Kate stepped out of the driver's seat. Alex froze in shock. It really was his ex-wife. "Hey, Alex," she smiled. "Out for a walk?" Yeah. Wait, Kate, where did you get that car?" She laughed. "That's all you noticed? Just the car?" She pointed toward the new building. "What about that?" "That's yours?" Alex asked, stunned. "All mine," Kate smiled. "Well, guess you miscalculated. You know, I probably would have told you everything back then, silly as I was, but I didn't even know myself. Turns out my father left me a huge inheritance. So huge, I honestly don't know what to do with it all. I decided to help people who've suffered because of men like you." Alex's mind raced. Inheritance? Kate was rich? "Easy for you to say," he muttered. "You have no idea how I felt. You know how easily men can be manipulated. I was a fool, and I regretted everything just days after the divorce, but it was too late. I know your character, Kate." He watched her face carefully, hoping to catch even a flicker of emotion, just one moment of softness, and he could win her back, her and her money. But her expression was unreadable. Then she laughed. "Don't waste your energy, Alex. I don't watch soap operas anymore. I've moved on to different stories, the kind where people pay for their mistakes. You don't even know who I mortgaged the apartment to," he said, trying to regain control. "Don't I?" Kate's eyes sparkled. "Alex, I know everything now. Everything. I'm the director of that very organization you are now indebted to." His mouth went dry. "So tell me," she said with a smirk, "what do you think I'm going to do now?" "You'll take my apartment," he said, trying to stay calm. "You can't. That's my only home." Kate burst into laughter. "Oh, please, that's just ridiculous. No, I won't just take your apartment. I plan to make you homeless. You know, the kind of people who dig through dumpsters." Alex stared at her in horror. Then her phone rang. She answered cheerfully, then looked at him one last time with a bright smile. "Sorry, business. I'm getting married next week. So much to do. Take care." She walked away, leaving Alex standing speechless in the dust. If you like the story, I'd really appreciate it if you could support me with a thumbs up. One click for you, but it means the world to me.